Hi Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your January 2022 new moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Aries be affected by the January 2022 new moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let me just set these up so you guys can see everything. Fantastic. Okay, so at the bottom here, we have strength, which is Leo energy, and we have the star, which is Aquarius energy. Then we have the devil, which is Capricorn energy, and we have the page of cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. We have the Fool, and we have the Three of Cups. And in the public arena, we have the 10 of Pentacles, and we have the 3 of Wands. So if we have Leo energy or Aquarius energy in our natal chart, that's going to come through very powerfully in our rooted self. It's going to be a root form of our personality. Now the devil here, Capricorn energy, this is where the full moon, where the new moon is. The new moon is in Capricorn, so this new moon is going to hit us rather intensely. And again, if we have any Capricorn energy within our natal chart, that comes through very powerfully in our inner self, as if we're born on the cusp with Pisces, or we have water sign energy within our natal chart. That comes through very powerfully here. Okay, so let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Okay, so we have the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. We need to be mindful during this time of breaking things down to just what they're worth. Very much being in tune and in alignment with only earth sign energy, which can be very easy for us because, again, we have the Capricorn energy coming through very strongly here. So this is going to be the way we perceive people as being successful, the way that they're even able to kind of convince us, like, this is how successful I am, this is how powerful I am, this is my like worth. but it's going to be very monetarily. It's not going to dive much deeper than that. And we're going to take our cues off of how we think of ourselves as successful, off of the way other people perceive us. And this is going to be a time, Aries, where it's really important for us to say, but how do I see myself? Like, do I see myself as successful? Am I moving in the right direction for me, or am I not? So just really getting really personal during this time is going to be really important for us. Now let's look here at our chakra energy, angels, and spirit guides. And this is spiritual awakening. This is the crown chakra. And there is a sense here of I am awakening into my power, into my understanding, into my purpose, into myself. It's like I'm having an epiphany. And what I love about this time is that we're really entering into an angel year, 222, right? The angel number of new beginnings. And this is what we're awakening to. It's kind of like, okay, how I've been judging my life, there's more to life than just money. Yes, being able to pay the bills is astoundingly important, but I want to dive deeper than that. I want to move deeper than that. And in January, on the 2nd of January, we have the new moon in Capricorn, and this is the first new moon of the year, and it really does set the tone for the year in quite an exquisite way. So the new moon in Capricorn here says your hard work is paying off, which that is what we always want. And the new moon is the sun conjunct the moon. This brings an end of one cycle and the beginning of another. It also brings bursts of energy, of insight, and of intuition. We will also find ourselves, during the time of the new moon, having more emotional balance come into play. It's like more of an emotional understanding. The new moon is going to be trine Uranus, and Uranus is all about freedom. And so this is a really great place for us to be in. This is a wonderful alignment to start the year in, because it makes us open our minds. It makes us, kind of seek out adventure. It makes us willing to try new things and let us see the progress of our life, but also let us kind of step out of a little box, a little world that we've created, and into a greater understanding of, wow, I can. And it's like I'm becoming braver within myself. We will find that we are more self-aware, but also not self-conscious. So that's going to be really good. So sometimes when we become more self-aware, when the planetary alignments make us more self-aware, we become hyper self-critical. And we can during this time if we're not in a good headspace or a good heart space for ourselves. But also knowing that with the new moon trine Uranus, we're not being told to be hypercritical. We're kind of sitting there and saying, yeah, this is me. It means that we can express ourselves in our own unique, creative, quirky, witty way and not feel apologetic for it. And that's going to be something that's really beautiful. We will be happy to see that this is a time of unexpected but positive changes that can lead us to new freedoms, to new avenues. It makes us more comfortable to, step out of our comfort zone and into the world that we want to live in. It's almost like I can be more than I expected that I could be, or I can start embracing these dreams and these desires. We will also find that negative reactions from others, it isn't as big a deal as we thought it was going to be. We could have built things up really big in our heads, but now it doesn't bother us in the same way. We also find that we pick up more quickly and more easily on things. It's going to be a great time for learning, for discovering, especially around like computers, around, astrology, around anything that we might think, oh, wow, that's too technical for me, or, oh, wow, that's too in depth. This is a time, even languages, we're going to sit there and be like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And it's just to give us that freedom. It's to give us that sense of deeper knowledge, deeper understanding, and freedom to go where we want, to do what we want, to be who we want to be. Now, the complication does come here with the new moon in conjunction with Lilith, which is also known as the black moon. So this can lead to a darker energy to this time, and we can find ourselves putting things off and simply becoming experts at procrastination. It's kind of like, oh, I can do it later, and then all of a sudden anxiety will hit us because there's no more time to put it off. Lilith represents what we want to ignore within our lives, and it makes running away and hiding an answer, like a really good answer too. It's not even like, oh, it's an okay answer. It's kind of like when you're little, it's like, oh, I'm just going to run away from home, it'll solve everything. It's like, it doesn't. It makes all new problems. So here it puts running away from our problems into a perspective. Also, when we start to look at it, it's like, well, that's not going to fix anything. And we need to be mindful of that just simply turning our backs isn't going to give us the resolution that we want. Now, Saturn is in Aquarius, and we have that that energy here of the star and strong Aquarius energy here at our root. And the thing with Aquarius, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So with that Aquarius energy coming forward, and Capricorn, okay, is ruled, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So we have that strong Saturn energy also coming forward here. So Saturn in Aquarius, this can bring a darker energy, this can bring that darker energy of Lilith forward. It's kind of like, I'm going to want to run away from my problems. Why? Because Saturn is very, very powerful, and it dims the positive energy of Uranus. And Saturn represents our restrictions. It represents our responsibilities, the burdens that we have to carry, the things that, we have to do. And there's going to be a point here where like, well, I don't want to have to anymore. Like, I don't want to be told what to do. I want to just be carefree and free and express. And there can be a little bit of selfishness in that. So if we have Saturn and Uranus working together, it can make us really aware, really like understanding of the way that we want to move forward in our lives, what we're coming forward for, what it is that we want. But we have to be focused on this, because if we're not, we're going to feel overwhelmed. And it comes into conflict with the natural energy of Uranus, which also is all about freedom and self-expression. This can heighten our anxiety. It can make us feel rather uncomfortable because these two energies are coming together. One is all about responsibility, and the other is all about expression and freedom and self. And we need them to come together in the most kind of grown up and harmonious way. That sense of, I am creating more. There is beauty and power to me. There is purpose leading me forward. Now, when we talk about the stars here, the stars come through this one star comes through very powerfully, and it's the moon conjunct the fixed star Nunki. Now, Nunki is a lovely star. Usually the stars come in and they're a little bit malevolent, but this star is really quite beautiful. This star brings thoughtfulness, it brings optimism, and the ability to connect with deeper knowledge. Now, according to the ancient Egyptian mathematician and astronomer, oh my gosh, am I going to butcher his name? Ptolemy. There we go. I was like, I know his name. So Ptolemy, this is a star of the nature of Jupiter and of Mercury, making Nunki not only a highly hardworking and lucky star, but also one that communicates its goals and its desires rather easily and rather beautifully. So at our root here, we have strength, and we're going to find, as we always do with strength, that strength is through compassion, strength is through connection. It's kind of like here, we can think of her as a lion trainer, or we can think of her as having that lion as a pet, which is never a good idea, right? But it's that love through compassion, that love through respect and understanding. And that's going to be coming forward at our root during this new moon, that love that guides the heart, that leads us forward, that opens up the door. And it brings us to the star. Again, the star is ruled by Uranus, so it heightens that Uranus energy. And we have the sun here, which is conjunct the moon, right? With making a new moon, darkening the moon. And that is Leo energy coming forward, very heightened, because Leo is ruled by the sun. So as we have the star coming forward, we're going towards our wishes, we're going towards what we deeply desire, we're looking at things with more openness and honesty, and also finding a bit of harmony within ourselves. This is our greatest wish coming forward in our lives, and it's going to be illuminated in a very interesting way, and in a way that we're really not expecting. And as it is, and as our deepest wish, not the one we cross our fingers for, but that deepest desire, that deepest want, that deepest need comes forward, it brings us to the devil, which really connects us to the Capricorn energy that we're in, the new moon in Capricorn. It makes us look at the things that we're held onto, or that hold us. Or we can be holding on to them, but they also hold us. And it's the negativity, it's the hurt, it's the pain, it's the disappointment, it's the chaos, it's the sense of I can't because of these addictions, because of these fears, because of this terror that is here holding me back and keeping me from moving forward the way that I want to. But it can also be I can't because of all these responsibilities. I can't possibly see the light that I wanted or the joy that I wanted in my life because it's one thing after another. It's one bill after another. It's one person demanding my attention after another, and there just isn't time for me. What we're going to find is that we become students of our heart, and we look at that mesmerizing energy, that energy that's putting us under its spell. That's why the vampire comes forward here and weighs us down with that ball and chain, that sense of, but it has to be like this, because our mind is becoming confuddled and confused. And we're thinking, yes, it has to be like this. And yet Spirit is saying, no, it doesn't. There's so much more leading us forward. The Page of Cups is us becoming a student of our heart, but also learning and expressing ourselves through our emotions, through our insight. It's not just going to be what I learn on a page. It's going to be that expression of my heart and my desires and what I need and what I want and who I am. And so I start to fall in love a little bit more with me and what I desire. I start to see things in a very different way. And it's not saying that all this responsibility is on our shoulders. If we don't change, things will never change. But in a sense, it's honoring our own path and our own self. And it's saying that a lot weighs on our heart. A lot has held us back. A lot, has been unfair. And if I start to be a student of my heart and what I desire, if I start to embrace my love and my kindness for me and for where I want to be in my life, that's one person taking the blame off. That's one person reorganizing things. And all of a sudden, we embrace freedom. We get to see freedom and expression and really look at what we desire and where it is that we want to be and how it is that we're moving forward. And we need to remember that people will call us foolish. People will not understand where we're coming from at all. And that's fine. Because every single hero's journey starts with that person being a fool. It starts in every single story, every single movie, every single tale. When a person goes against the norm, they are considered a fool. Now we can play our lives so safe and so, the way it's supposed to be, that we never take any chances. We never let ourselves shine. But that is a waste of the talents that we were born with. There's a need here to jump and to go, to look at and to say, I know that there is more. No matter how hard the world tries to hide it from us, no matter how hard we ourselves try to hide it from our hearts and our desires. And it brings us to the Three of Cups. Now, the Three of Cups, for me, is a double-edged sword. So the Three of Cups starts off with that negative energy, that person that raised their cup to you, or that was supposed to be there to raise their cup to you, but couldn't celebrate, couldn't be there in the long run. This is especially scarring if it's a parent, a guardian, a person who was supposed to be on your side or who had authority over you, a teacher, a lover, who, when they spoke, you deeply listened. And so these scars stay. This could be a sibling, this could be friends, the scars stay. And so then the mistrust comes forward in the sense of, well, I couldn't trust them and I couldn't trust my own judgment, in this situation. How can I trust at all? And then it's being able to understand that there have been people around us who celebrate us, even if it's just our angels and our spirit guides, even if it's just needing to say spiritually, I am not alone, and this isn't for nothing. And we start to embrace that energy, we start to embrace that celebration, and it starts to illuminate our path forward. And it brings us to the public arena. The public arena, we have the 10 of Pentacles, and here it says inheritance, family, and prosperity. So that is really quite extraordinary. I do recommend these cards, which I will link in the description, for people who are learning, because you get to read what they say. But here with inheritance, family, and prosperity, it's like, this is my inherited gift to move me forward, to help bring prosperity into my life. This is the bounty of what I've been working towards. Now, we talk about generational curses, right? The sins of the father passed on to the son. The sense of, if they were raised messed up, they pass that messed upness, down onto everybody else. And that makes sense. But these are also now the blessings that are passed on to us. Even if it's how to make really good chocolate chip cookies, and that's the only blessing that we can think of. Or even if it's like, it was so bad, but I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet. I learned to really trust my instincts and my gut. Like, there's a sense of blessings coming forward, even if we don't see it, even if we can't realize it at the time. And there's a real sense of wealth coming around us. There's calling in blessings in our lives, and it's being able to have that as an inheritance to the next generation, to the people that we raise, maybe, but also the people that we come in contact with in our lives. It's sharing that spark, it's sharing that joy, it's sharing that passion forward. And that leads us to the Three of Wands. That leads us to new avenues opening up. And here it says action, adventure, luck, And it just keeps on repeating it. It's kind of like a mantra. Action, adventure, luck. Action, adventure, luck. The door's open. How do I move forward? The door's open. Where do I find myself? The door's open. And what do I want? During this new moon, when all is in darkness, when all is quiet, when the doubts and the fears can come over us and absolutely drown out the freedom and the dreams that we have, what we're saying here is we're seeing a sliver of hope. We're seeing things starting to change course. We're seeing us starting to change course. And we're starting to be inspired by the world around us, by what we've longed for, by the place that we need to be, and by the passion that is a part of us. So the doors are opening and prosperity is coming in. There's a change of fortune during this time because our hearts are telling us to leap forward. And our hearts are looking at a lot of the pain that we have locked away in our hearts and saying that doesn't get to be my definition anymore. That doesn't get to be the way that I define me. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. So at our root, we have here the energy is gaining momentum. We have then the Queen of the Moon, sovereignty coming forward, finding sovereignty within ourselves. As the energy gains momentum, as we have our strength and our dreams coming forward, as we see what we desire being guided towards so much more than we expected, the energy gains momentum. We find sovereignty within ourselves. We start to see what it is that we desire. We start to see what it is that we long for, where it is that we want to be. And it starts to open up the world to us in a way that we weren't expecting. And it brings us to our inner self, which is the power of the full moon and the new moon coming together. So the new moon begins a cycle of 28 days. And the new moon is saying a new start is coming, because this is where we kind of get to set that restart button and say, how am I going to take these 28 days? Like, how am I going to change my life, move myself forward? And how is that power coming forward as I embrace the new moon, as I move forward to the full moon, as I look at what I desire, what I want, what I long for, what illuminates my life? And that becomes the game changer here. So we're looking at it reverse. We're looking at the energy of the full moon that illuminated so much for us. And now as we move into the new moon, it's like, okay, how am I taking that knowledge and springboarding? What do I want to keep that I have learned? And what do I need to release that I really don't want weighing me down anymore? It brings us to our what is this, lunar emotional self. And it says extremes, right? And it says meditate and contemplate, because we're going to be led on these extremes. We have strong Saturn energy, we have strong Uranus energy. That makes perfect sense that we're going to be led towards these extremes. And as these extremes come in, meditate and contemplate. Embrace the quiet, embrace the nothing, and see what happens because of that. It leads us, don't get carried away, because it'll be so easy during this time to be carried away on structure and rules, and carried away on freedom and expression, and feeling like we're at war with each other, kind of like we're being pulled in two separate directions, or we're twins, and one wants to go this way and one wants to go the other way. It's like, no, let us work together. Let us see how abiding by the rules and embracing freedom and expression can come together and really make the world that we want, because it's never going to be willy-nilly, completely carefree, and it's never going to be well, it could always be, very structured, very, very harsh, but we're trying to find the middle ground where people are the happiest. It moves us to our lunar public arena self, and it says the answers you need are coming, wisdom. It is part of our wisdom. As the answers come, as we're taking in this knowledge, the wisdom guides us forward. Our insights guide us forward. It's like, okay, this is the game changer here. Now our subconscious lunar message begins with not nothing. Don't let your past hold you back, right? The South Lunar Node. And then we have here, surrender. So the South Lunar Node and the North Lunar Node, it is said in astrology that the echo of our life purpose is held between the North and the South Lunar Node. So here, don't let the past hold you back. and surrender. Surrender to the power of what you want now. Surrender to the passion and the desire of the evolution of our minds and ourselves. Surrender to our own spiritual path, which doesn't have to follow an orthodoxy, but it means that there is something more than me, that I get to believe in. Because if everything just falls on the weight of my own shoulders, that becomes overwhelming, and that can really harden the heart. It moves us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of, and it is the Princess of Pentacles. It's immaturity around money. It is schemes and ideas that don't have any backing to them. It's not looking at the bigger picture. It's only looking at one minute, corner of things and not seeing how everything connects. So just be mindful of this during this time. Be mindful of people who think this way, and be mindful of falling into these thoughts. It moves us to our subconscious chakra energy, which is peace. The crown chakra. We need to crown ourselves with peace, with calm, with intention, with desire, with, passion and fire. And it's going to come by meditating, by contemplating, by quieting the world and letting that crown of peace, literally visualizing that crown of peace resting upon our heads and moving us forward. It moves us to our subconscious rooted self, which is temperance. Now, this is Sagittarius energy. This is that energy of Jupiter coming forward. It's very interesting that all the planets are coming forward here. It is that sense of understanding of power. Do we have Jupiter coming forward during this time? Yes. When Nunki is ruled by Jupiter and by Mercury. So we don't have Mercury coming forward quite yet. But we do have it with the Gemini in the new moon, in the full moon right here. So yes. And so here, we're going to find ourselves learning how to balance things, learning how to find harmony between the waking world and the sleeping world, between the conscious and the subconscious, and that becomes the game changer. And it also is that sense of, how do I balance me? How do I balance what I am supposed to do with what I want to do? How do I balance freedom and responsibility? It moves us to our subconscious inner self, and that's the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is getting to believe in dreams again. It is also focusing on our dreams and not feeling like my dream is just there to mock me, the thing I have never done and may never do. What we have to see is that our world is different. It isn't defined by our grandparents' rules or even our parents' rules anymore. The world is open, and it is complex, and it is connected in a way that we could never have dreamed of, before. Even just a few decades ago, this would be absolutely unreasonable to think of. And now you have people online on YouTube. There's this woman, and I love mentioning her. She's in her 80s. She's written a book. She has a YouTube channel. It's all relatively recently. And she writes and talks about being older and being a woman and what that means. And she has a community that follows her, and she's brilliant. But it isn't that she's, this person who has been doing tours and everything forever. It's that she found her own little corner of the world. And why can't we? Why can't we embrace our dreams that way? Why does it have to always be overpowering and, overwhelming? Here it can be quiet and it can be beautiful. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self. And it brings us the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is God's source spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, handing us a gift of healing, handing us a gift of love, washing away so much of the hurt and the stagnation within our own hearts that it can make us feel overly vulnerable at times. It can make us feel overly sensitive. And we might be really mad at that, Aries, because we don't want that energy of not being in control to come forward. But as we embrace what the heart needs, we see why Aries and Venus were the lovers that they were in mythology, right? The fire and the passion of war and of conquer needs the gentle, but also fiery passion of love and connection. And so we're going to find that within our own hearts and within ourselves. It moves us to our subconscious public arena self. And that's, again, the Seven of Cups. And here it says choice, instinct, passion, extremes. What do we want? What do we need? What do we love? How are we moving ourselves forward? What dreams are we letting ourselves embrace? And what dreams are we saying, oh no, that can never be? And why? Spirit is saying it's never too late. And so often we tend to judge ourselves by years. We tend to look at things and say, if it's not done by this time, it'll never be. Let the time frame go. And let the world see yourself shine. And if what we have dreamt of, in that specific way that we have dreamt of it, comes true, that's awesome. And if it doesn't come true, if divinity takes the wheel and says, you know what, you're going on this adventure, let it happen. Let yourself start to embrace dreams and desire and see where it takes you. All right, Aries, I love this new moon for you. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this time. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries, and may you have a blessed moon.